Hello everybody and welcome back to the next episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante, here with Sir Elcroix's lesson. Your studies at the Imperial College may have begun with a luxurious party, but soon you settle into a routine of lesson after lesson. Along with dozens of other future judges, you spend hours listening to lectures in spacious college halls with high ceilings. You study imperial law and legislation, analysing every technicality and interpretation. The subjects only get tougher, and the instructors grow ever more demanding as your studies continue. Yet law is not the only thing you study. There are other disciplines as well, such as rhetoric and orthography. A true judge must have a perfect command of both the spoken and written word. Washing dark blue ink off your fingers becomes an indelible part of your daily routine. Of all your classes, you find the fencing lessons particularly exciting. Every lesson covers your body with more cuts and bruises and makes your muscles ache from exertion, but your childhood dream is worth it. Then finally there comes a short break in your studies, a handful of days for rest and recreation. You meet Thomas to discuss how you're going to spend the time. You're coming with me tonight, no excuses Brante. We're paying a visit to our mentor Baron Elcroix. It's time you learned a thing or two about how we do things in the military. Your friend looks very cunning and pleased with himself when he says this. With a sigh you change out to your college uniform and into your best clothes and follow him. Thomas rushes you to a two-story house, somewhere in a noble neighbourhood in the capital. Its windows are open and you can hear people talking over each other. The house's sitting room is filled with young people, at least 24 men, almost all of them academy cadets. In the middle of the sitting room is an armchair, and in this armchair is a gentleman wearing the uniform of an Imperial Legion officer and smoking a pipe. His thick hair falls over his large, observant eyes. Baron Elcroix welcomes the two of you with a slight nod and continues his speech while everyone listens respectfully. As I was saying, young man, I firmly believe that the days when all the military glory of the Empire belonged to the Arcane dynasties are long gone. Human nobles have been serving the Emperor as well the Arcane nobles for a long time now. Still, the Arcanes keep acting like their origins are more important than honour and service to the crown. Take the Millennius dynasty for example, the offshoots of Magra. Long ago, their leader, Charmilonides, fomented a rebellion against the rule of the Tempests and the Twins' faith. He set all life from his own lands, doomed thousands of his own subjects, and yet the Millennius dynasty still rules over Magra like nothing ever happened. Then suddenly, he flashes a cunning grin. I think this calls for test your strategic thinking, young men, but first let me refresh your memory on the rebellion of Charmilonides. It may seem surprising, but we have to thank him for our current status. He was the first to ennoble humans, an act of unprecedented insolence. But he gave the rebellious Duke immense support in his province. He risked his reputation and title to make himself stronger thanks to humans, and in that he succeeded. No one had ever dared challenge the rule of the Arcaneers and Tempests before, but the rebellion of Magra changed everything. Humans became a part of the nobility. We got a taste of the power only the Arcaneers could wield before. Unless I'm mistaken, most nobles in the Empire these days are human. Why, we outnumber the members of the Arcane dynasties dozens of times over. So Charmilonides had completed rule and control of the lands of Magra. He had loyalty of his ennobled human subjects, and he had the loyalty of the mages and witches who fled to Anazotti, the only place in the Empire where they could hide from the Church. The Archduke of Magra had everything he needed to win, and yet two pivotal changes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. It certainly stopped the entire Imperial Legion in their tracks, but the population of Magra would no longer side with Charmilonides after that. And secondly, the clergy stuck the rebellious Duke with the power of the twins. His magic was gone, and his main advantage was no more. Many fled, but as you know, it still took the Empire an entire month of siege before the palace in Anazotti was taken. After the rebellion of Magra, the Empire changed drastically, and most importantly, humans finally received their lawful right to be ennobled. I'd like to stress that in particular, ennobled not by birth, but by virtue of their own knowledge and talent. History, young men, is more than just a memory of the past, it's also a lesson for our future. I believe that part of our history proves my point. And now a test. Tell me, if you were among the Imperial strategists during the rebellion, what would you have done? How would you fought an enemy as powerful as Charmilonides? With this, Sir O'Quarr leans back in his armchair and takes a pull from his pipe while the cadets start discussing. Some take no time to say they cannot believe Sir O'Quarr thinks humans were first enabled by serving the rebellious Duke. Others say the prolonged palace siege might have been a mistake and storming the palace would have been a better choice. Soon ideas start flying. Some cause only laughter while others lead to debate. They are discussing the past of Anazotti, the past of your hometown. You cannot possibly stay silent right now. If you were in command of the Imperial Legions back then, what would you have done? Based on what you know about the rebellion of Magra, you see 3 potential strategies. First involves calling upon the twins' miracles to rob Milanites of magic and render him powerless. The second entails putting your faith in the disciple and valor of the army for a frontal assault. The third means drawing out the siege while making the enemy's life as hard as possible through cunning. Which of these 3 strategies would you have chosen? Okay, so I think this will give me more faith-related bonuses, this will give me more noble-related bonuses, and this will give me more common skills. I'm going to go for press for decisive assault, because I want my noble skill to keep going up and up. You decided it's time for you to answer, Sir O'Quarr. You begin by stating that you hail from the city of Anazotti yourself. The cornerstone of the rebellious Duke's strategy was ennobling humans, you say. This won their loyalty and formed them into a veritable army. An army loyal to its leader can achieve any feat of valour, so the Imperial Legions also ought to have relied upon the valour and unity of their soldiers. Inspire the warriors, earn their loyalty, and take the castle by storm. That is the way. Sir O'Quarr looks at you, studying you attentively. Brante, is that your name, young man? I'll make sure to remember it. You are absolutely right. The soldiers' loyalty to their creed, their commander, and their emperor. Those are the things that make for an undefeatable army. And I wholeheartedly agree. A decisive assault would have brought down the castle at the rebellion's very inception and destroyed all their will to fight. And this, young man, is the moral of the story. Charmeleonidas was defeated, not by some clergy and their prayers, and not even by the noble militias assembled by other archdukes. He was vanquished by the Imperial Legions, a unified army with clear regulations and ranks and a clear chain of command. An army that is strong in discipline and loyalty to the Emperor. Long ago, only Argonians had the right to wield weapons and wage war, but now humans can prove their merit and earn the same right. Humans like ourselves. And the present empire is growing even stronger thanks to its new warriors and functionaries. These days, humans can judge and rule and create. The terrors wrought by the rebellious Duke are undeniable, yet his rebellion created new possibilities for all of us, including you, young Sir Brante. He nods to you in approval, then his eyes finally move away from you and back to the rest of the young men in the hall. After hearing him praise you, no one dares to argue with a battle-hardened officer. The evening continues, and he shares some of his war stories, each more astounding than the last. You join Thomas and other cadets in sipping wine and enjoying his tales. You return to the college long after midnight. You also recall Baron O'Quarr's story about the rebellion of Charmeleonidas after that. The rebellious Duke lost the war, and yet he brought about drastic changes for humans and the entire empire. As I hoped, we are now a seasoned warrior. Well, I think we already were, but we're getting close to being a dangerous enemy, and our eloquence is also going up a little bit as well. Both of which are pretty useful, I would say. Year 1136, in the summer, letters from home. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and works in Magra, and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He has already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stefan is a lot like grandfather, in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses like him. He used to be aloof around me and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Mother writes to you. From her letters you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together, reading the scriptures, and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Gloria does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing the halls in the middle of the night. There is one more thing Nathan mentions in his letters. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind. Then Stefan calls her a loaded commoner to make her shut up. You're always in trouble and excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families, no matter the distance between you. So Stefan goes down, as does Gloria, as does Nathan. It's not ideal. You will become a judge one day, so you are sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honour. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases, and to his great joy, his night shift. Another night begins, and the office is growing darker. You are still there, zealously filling out the paperwork for the day. A petty theft, a verbal assault against a noble of the sword by a commoner, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them, but they are real cases a judge has to face. And so you sit there, carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone, and her makeup is a fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in the houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned by a nose of remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid staring at it. The gendarme gives a report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park of the Temple of the Twins. They were committing acts of carnality in affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl, and he was glowing like a lamppost. You gesture for the priest to stay quiet and ask if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs. He didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was the noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms. The girl stays quiet all the while, her eyes emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. When she does speak, her voice is soft like smooth velvet. My name is Alice, Your Honour. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I? The wench looks up and meets your gaze as she says those words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dusk, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing, and the priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with this girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you are a future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion and get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps this suspicious lady of the evening, Alice, is the heart of the matter. You have no doubt she'll reveal her true colours if you question her. If the priest was right about her using magic, the girl's fate is sealed. Your Honour. You look up from your desk and into the eyes of the beautiful Alice, and you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining through you. This emotion flows like a river. It lifts you up. This is more than beauty, more than passion. This is much, much more. Will you resist this call, or will you heed it? Okay, so we can find the nobleman, we can release Alice, or we can interrogate her. You have to find the truth even if it is the last thing you do in this life. I don't want that to happen. But sure, that sounds fun. You dismiss the priest and gendarme and begin questioning Alice. You are alone with the harlot now. She traces lines on your table absentmindedly with her finger. The dress still reflects the candlelight, scattering it onto golden specks across the walls of the office. You sense something unnatural in those sparks of gold. You've seen those sparks before, once as a youth. You recall the sunset in Anazotti, an abandoned house and Sophia's deep blue eyes. You cannot help but share the priest's concerns. The questioning begins. You ask Alice how she makes a living. Your Honour, my dream is to become an actress and join the Imperial Theatre. But I am just a poor girl of low birth. How else am I supposed to earn my keep? Our trade is none of your concern, you explain. However, gauging depravity next to the holy site is an affront to the twins. Alice smiles craftily and fire flashes in her eyes. The light in her eye beckons, promising to take you somewhere far away. You quietly pray to the younger to deliver you from this temptation for the sake of justice. An affront to the gods? On the contrary, Your Honour, I serve the twins. Their love flows within me, and I grant it to anyone who asks. Alice rises from her chair, incensed. She's glowing, literally. The light emanating from her is now bright enough to illuminate the entire room. This is neither my vice nor my folly, Your Honour. It was the twins' will I was born this way. I do not control people, I do not cloud their minds. All I do with my gift is to help them feel the love of the gods which they have forgotten. And the gods themselves bless me for this. Had the twins hated magic as much as the Inquisition pretends, they would never allow me to be born. This is a confession. Alice is a witch. Does she not realise the fate that awaits all witches? Yes, I was born a witch. What am I supposed to do, Your Honour? Get myself burned to the stake by the Inquisition or become their mindless collared puppet? Is that how I'm supposed to find my way to the peak? No, I will live my life my way. If the twins judge me guilty in the hereafter for bringing their love to the people, then so be it. The case is closed. The girl is a witch who uses her sorcery to beguile the mind. She confessed as much herself. You must send for the Inquisition now. There is no other way. Such is the law. I hoped you could see it, Sir Brante. I hoped you could recognise their love when it touches you. I feel sorry for you. A stern-looking priest sent to your office, accompanied by armed champions of the faith. The Inquisitors examine the girl closely, study your notes, and thank you for catching the witch. The champions of faith lock a collar around Alice's neck. The golden glow in her eyes is gone. Oops. 3 days later, pretty Alice is burned at the stake in Majesty Square. I didn't mean to kill you, I'm sorry. Our manipulation's gone up. As has theology, but our willpower's gone down. I didn't mean to kill you, Alice, I'm very sorry. Oh well, I've done it now. We stick with our decisions. Two major events take place while you're busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great Chancellor of the Empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Agarius Monrogue, the same Monrogue who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new Great Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code of Laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumours among the people. They say the new Great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Huithril II. Usually the overseer of a province is its archduke. After all, it makes sense the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now this age-old tradition has been broken, and to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Milonidas is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main support of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles of the Emperor's court will say this is a stratagem by the Arcanian gentry, who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Milonidas will be at each other's throat over the province. This does not bode well for their future. One thing is clear, Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Okay. More changes to the power balance. The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the noble merchants have gone from the squares, and flags and flower gardens have appeared on the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Eterna is abuzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students in the college and cadets in the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons of flags flutter in the wind, the streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your friend's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the streets as you pass by. They giggle shyly, and some of them wave back. Did you see that, pal? Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. Now this is what I call living. I just love parades. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace, and they are joined by the Emperor's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Huithril II with your own eyes, there, high above, yet so close. The columns come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength, learning is will." The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting, and his voice echoes across the square. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valour in service of the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's words, but their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monroe, the new Great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Arcanian gentry. He is forced to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, and so he is the Great Chancellor now. Hail, your Emperor, common folk. Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Buoyed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure, under an emerald banner with a black snake. She is Octavia Milonidas, daughter to the Archduke of Magra, and hopefully a romantic interest. Now that's new. You noticed Octavia too, eh? Our Archduke Milonidas sent his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor, if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. That's never happened before. But then everyone goes silent. A young, slender Arcanian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Gerion, an heir to the throne. Warder Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Gerion is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the future nobles roar as one. All hail Prince Gerion. Another figure steps into the view next to the heir. He is an Archnean, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colours. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and the new overseer of Maghreb, by the by. Seems the Archnean elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like his other brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Jorian, students of the college, cadets of the academy, time and time again. You have proven yourselves to the Emperor by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honour of Prince Jorian you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of the distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. The cadets and the students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Jorian also remains still, awaiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monroe briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor brothers wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. But the columns stay where they are. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law. We ask for the law. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refuse to follow the Archduke's order. There are shouts heard here and there. The law. We ask for the law. The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. You join the call to have your right to nobility codified. Let's hope it doesn't get us killed. You cry out in support of Gaius Tempest's call for the law. You have the right to be heard, and you have the right to ask. Your voice grows stronger, and soon others join you. The chant grows louder with every second. The law. The law. Inspired by the support of your fellow students and cadets, you move through the square and urge others to join you. Thomas walks by your side, waving his arms wildly, inciting others to shout along with you. You, Thomas, and other vocal students and cadets gather in the very centre of the square. Academy officers trying to shout you into submission and order you back into the procession, but they are barely heard above your chant. Still, some submit and form back into the columns. But the impassioned chant continues, and you are at the very heart of the chanting crowd. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You have to stand your ground, so you start giving orders to defend the cobblestones beneath your feet with your fellow future nobles. You assemble into a double chain formation around the centre of the square. It is strong enough to prevent the Imperial Guard from reaching the very centre. The commoners go running left and right away from the horses, but the cavalry stops when it reaches your double chain. They cannot break through unless they are ordered to attack, and so they halt and wait for orders. The horses pull at cobblestones. The cavalry swords are drawn, ready to come crashing down upon your heads. It is a standoff between the armour-clad cavalry and the unarmed students and cadets. Emperor Huithril II appears on the balcony again, joined by his brother Gaius Tempest and heir to the throne Jorian Tempest. With a gesture, the Emperor calls for attention. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I have heard your request. There is no need to repeat it again and again. The Great Imperial Council shall review my brother's proposal. Now follow or not and obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises to the ever-merciful Prince Jorian. These words from the Emperor are enough to quell the commotion in the square. The standoff ends and the cavalry withdraws. Well, would you look at that, old friend? We did it. We stood up for our noble right and we won. That's the Emperor's word. That's what our courage can do. Voices from the crowd are quick to disprove Thomas. The Emperor never gave his word. He only promised to review the proposal. People begin to argue with you again. This time, however, no one wishes to disobey the orders from on high, and so the students line up into columns once again. The Battle of Defiance is in the past now, and everyone resumes the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to Emperor Uther, glory to Prince Gerion. We are now a dangerous enemy. Which is probably good. I would hope anyway. And we get into the Way of the Sword. But I think we'll leave things there. Unfortunately, we just killed that poor witch with our first case. Hopefully she wasn't too important. I guess we'll find out later on whether we will have missed her. Or her presence, I suppose. She could have been a very useful ally. But I guess once we interrogated her, we were left with no choice what to do, really. More to come soon, indeed. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.